Buckeye Nation, what's poppin'? Crazy Dog coming at you on the Buckin' Crazy YouTube channel with my final Buckeyes official visit weekend recap of the summer. And again, like I said, this was essentially the main event of the month for the Buckeyes. I mean, you look at the names of the guys who showed up. By the way, all the players who were scheduled to be there showed up. There was no last minute switches like we've seen in the past. So that's good. Out of the 17 scheduled appearances, all 17 players made it. That's awesome. Of course, Braylon Womack, one of the top uncommitted players in the country. He commits in August. Ohio State is known as the heavy favorite. He was there, and from what I heard, he really enjoyed it. So that's great. Of course, he had Chris Henry, Blaine Bradford, Caden Dixon-Wyatt, Simeon Caldwell, Jordan Thomas, Jacob Weatherspoon, Brock Boyd. They were all the commits that were there. And then, of course, Deuce Gerald's, Kevin Ford, and Landon Barnes, teammates at Duncanville. They made it. Of course, we all know KJ Ford. He was a last-minute addition after Luke Wayful went to USC. He was supposed to go to USC, but then, of course, they got Luke Wayful. They canceled on KJ. So KJ's like, you know what? I'm going to go to Ohio State, see what they're all about. With his teammate Landon Barnes. And then Damari Simeon, JB Shabazz, Luke Fahey, Jaquaden Guilford, and Deron Parks. Those were all the uncommitted players that were there. And of course, you can't forget about Derek Cooper, too. And also, speaking of Luke Fahey, he actually got an offer for Ohio State. So, there's that, right? Now, the first thing I'm going to go over is all the crystal balls that came out. Because shortly after the visits wrapped up, the crystal balls started rolling in. And I know there's 4 right here, but I literally just looked and another one was posted for Jameer Perez to flip to Ohio State. Now, of course, he wasn't in town, but that's been the vibe for a while that he's going to flip to Ohio State. Now, they also got 3 crystal balls from guys who were in town. Well, 2 guys were in town. 3 crystal balls for 2 guys. One was for Luke Fahey from Alex Gleitman, who also posted a crystal ball for Jaquaden Guilford. And then Steve Wilfong put in a crystal ball for the 3-star receiver Jaquaden Guilford, who commits later this week. So I think he's going to be a Buckeye. Same thing for Luke Fahey. I know Ohio State wants to have a quarterback in the class of 2026, and it looks like that's going to be Luke Fahey. So that's good to see, right? Now, real quick, let's also go over the boom watch, I guess, scenario heading into, I guess, the summertime, July, when a lot of these kids are going to start committing. You look at the boom watches. Of course, I took off Sincere Johnson because he already committed. So, of course, I added Luke Fahey. Of course, you still have PJ Dean, Drew Evers, Jameer Perez, Aaron Thomas. I added Jaquaden Guilford, Braylon Womack, and Deuce Gerald. Those are all guys that I expect to commit to Ohio State, or at least that's the vibe right now. And then I added the no crystal ball yet category. These are players that have not received their crystal ball to Ohio State, but I believe if they do, I think they could be committing to Ohio State. Now, KJ Ford and Carter Meadows, I think we could get one of those 2. Derek Cooper, I think it's down to him or Savion Hyder. Cam Brickle commits this week. Haven't received anything on him yet, but I think he could be a Buckeye. And then Danny Odom actually commits today. And the vibe around the writer's staff is he could be a Buckeye. But as of now, all I've seen is crystal balls for him to go to Nebraska. Now, I could expect that because they lost C.J. Bronaugh, I believe it is. So they replaced C.J. Bronaugh with Danny Odom. Okay. But I think if Ohio State wants him, I think they get him. We'll see what happens there. Now, let's go over the hardest, I guess, official visit picks from the weekend, right? Because, these players be doing photo shoots. And let's take a look at some of the hardest ones that I found. And of course, I'm going over the players that I highlighted in my preview video. First off, we got Braylon Womack showing off the shoes. Got the jacket, the snapback hat. All right. Hell yeah. And then we got Derek Cooper with the trophy sitting on the couch. All right. Look at those pictures behind him. Now, if you're Derek Cooper, right? You see that guy behind him there? Freaking Jeremiah? Right? Same high school. Gotta be interesting, right? Now, from what I heard about Derek Cooper, he actually wants to leave the state to go play football. But from what I'm hearing from the writers, they believe that his commitment, his recruitment, could be NIL motivated. And, of course, it's Georgia, Miami, and Ohio State as the top three from what I hear. We'll see what he does. Now, let's take a look at possibly the hardest pick I found on the web. KJ Ford posing with Jeremiah Smith. Oh, boy. Now, in my opinion, you don't take a pick with Jeremiah Smith, right? This pick goes hard as hell, not going to lie. But you don't post this picture. You don't take this if you're not going to be a Buckeye. This is going to be so many freaking Buckeye Twitter accounts, profile pictures. For real. That pick goes hard as hell. My God. The aura is just insane. And then we take a look at KJ's teammate, Landon Barnes, again with the trophy. That trophy's got an aura of its own, right? And then, of course, we go to Deuce Gerald's, again with the trophy. Notice I'm picking pictures of players holding the trophy because that is the main goal for a lot of these guys. They want to win a natty, they want to get a bag, they want to go pro, and they want to just, get their families right. They want to secure their family's future. Because a lot of these kids, right, they're coming from not so great situations. They want to have the ability to essentially retire their parents. Make them not have to worry about putting food on the table. Because a lot of these kids, man, they were living paycheck to paycheck or even worse. Oh. So, get them out of the trenches, right? And of course, a lot of these kids too, they were blessed, right? They didn't have to really worry about that, but they still want to, just have that feeling of, I made it. Right? And a lot of that is winning a natty, that's big for a lot of these kids. Winning a championship, because a lot of these kids come from winning programs, right? Powerhouse teams in their state and high school. Winning championships is all they do. They want to win a championship at every level. That's big. Now, another extremely hard pick that I found is this one. Of course, OG Walt had to do a little shiesty pick with the rest of the BIA kids that were there. Right? It's like, see who you can pick out of the group. I know Blaine's in there. I think Simeon's in there. I'm pretty sure Jordan Thomas is in there. I'm going to say Jacob Weatherspoon, but I'm not exactly sure. Again, the shiesties keep me from identifying who's who. But yeah, this pick goes hard too. Of course, it always goes hard, right? The ring finger, of course, right? OG Walt, one of the best recruiters out there, right? BIA. It's not a slogan. Straight up. But yeah, overall, awesome weekend for Ohio State. The vibes are immaculate. And hopefully, God willing, we'll get a few booms this week too. And I'll be making a couple of commitment videos. Kind of hoping to be making one today, but the vibe just really isn't there right now with that. So we'll see what happens. But if anything happens, commitment wise, you already know I'll be right here making a video. That's why I always say be sure to hit the like button, or hit the like button, of course. Turn on post notifications, hit the bell so you know when I go live, post videos on here, because I do go live every once in a while. I mainly go live for commitment reactions on 247 around 3. So yeah, when they pop off with these commitments, you already know I'll be here. So with that being said, I'm Crazy Dog coming at you on the Bucking Crazy YouTube channel. What a fun weekend. And we're just getting started with the commitments too. Now that OV weekends are done, I expect these kids to be committing left and right. So with that being said, I'm Crazy Dog coming at you on the Bucking Crazy YouTube channel. Let's go, Bucks. OH. I'm out. Bye-bye. Yeah.